Today's best music.
Magic 89.9.
Journalist, radio broadcaster,
Award-winning, recently awarded.
television presenter. If I'm not mistaken, 27 years in the industry and 21 with her current broadcast station, ABS-CBN. Please welcome Miss Christine Karen Leasing Davila Santa Ana.
God!
Hey!
Well, you know, first of all, guys, gusto ko lang sabihin, I've never been in a show na sobrang dami ng gwapong kasama ko. Medyo may male shock factor ako. Over to over sa pagkagwapo all in one Zoom. But thank you for having me here. You know, I've always been a listener of 89.9. Alam mo, don't laugh. Kahit na noon pa, I felt you played such good music. May times, you know, you want like upbeat music. Talagang, you guys were known for that. Hindi ko alam kung kayo yung batch na yun. I don't know.
Tony for sure.
Si Joe Damango. Si Joe Damango. Love notes si Joe Damango.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But super happy to have you. Thank you for joining us on the show. We know you are super busy. So many things happening in your life. Congratulations, as we mentioned, on your play button on YouTube. That was big in 5 months.
Thank you.
Record breaking. Also, recently, the Asian Academy Creative Awards, you also won that. Congratulations as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I mean, is it one of those things where, you know, anything that you do, it's like, it's golden. I mean, what you do is like golden. Are you surprised at how, you know, the people took you in the, say, the YouTube channel? You were like, hey, okay, I'll subscribe.
You know, I'm so happy you asked that question, Rick. And I asked Tony earlier if we're on 89.9 as in the radio station, and he said we're also seen on Facebook. And when he said we're seen on Facebook, I feel this is something I can talk about because Facebook viewers, I do an inspirational devotional thrice a week with Facebook viewers. And I realized more and more during the pandemic that people are more open to speaking about spirituality and their faith. And I like your question, like, is anything that you do successful? I mean, something like that, because I've been asked many times. So I'd have to say that when I started my broadcast career, so I've been in broadcasting 28 years, I started with the mental makeup of what my parents told me. Alam mo, so I come from a middle... Wait, do you have the time? How does this...
Of course, yes. Go ahead.
I'd love to hear the story.
Yeah, we want to hear.
Ikaw lagi nag-interview eh. Mabaliktad natin. We want to know about you. Mabaliktad natin.
So, I come from a middle class family. I went to a private school, but I remember I always share this story in 1983 when Ninoy Aquino died. I mean, I'm 50 years old, so I don't know how old you guys are. The economy went down at maraming Pilipinong naghirap noon. And I remember, of course, I grew up na my parents, I was a teenager, parang life was financially difficult. My father wasn't working and my mom and dad had to get into small businesses. And basta, I mean, I have the whole night to tell you, but ang hirap-hirap ng buhay noon. And I always thought, my God, Lord, I wasn't a Christian then, but ganito na lang ba to? Parang paycheck to paycheck, ang hirap magbayad ng tuition, umuutang nanay ko. It was just terrible.
Yeah, parang parati naghahabol ng something.
Ang hirap nun. I don't believe anybody would want to be in a situation where you're always unsure where to get the next that you need, no?
Yeah.
And alam ng listeners yun. And my mom told me that, Karen, basta mapagtapos kita ng pag-aaral, kahit wala akong maipamana sa'yo na exact words, pera, alahas, lupa, you can achieve and be anything you want to be. And then my father told me, you know, Karen, failure is not an option for you. And the only barrier to you and success is you. And my mom said, you're not entitled to anything, Karen. Ang taong matalino, tatalunin ng taong masipag. And I swear to you, I know this sounds cliche because there's a whole world out there of like people make so much money, gaming, social media, but I'm not from that world. This
Face shield now.
Kala ko face shield, kasama mo eh.
Gaming, face
shield,
media.
Kasama na natin yun.
Easy yan, easy.
Tayo naman.
Mas malaki yung kinita doon kaysa gaming.
Old school this way na brick and mortar. So when Rick asked me this, when I entered broadcasting, I just had to be excellent, I felt, in anything I did.
Yeah.
So I wasn't the best. I don't have the best voice. I'm not the prettiest. I'm not the greatest in my field, but I'd have to say I try the hardest.
Okay.
I think.
The hustle.
Hardest worker in the room.
Said it. I'm the hardest worker in the room. Maybe it's not at each and every point in time because you do get tired, you get sick.
Yeah,
of course.
But in many points in time, I would have to say no one can say, tamad yan, she won't do it. Wala akong ganung reputation, right? So I just, there were no shortcuts for me. When I wanted to do something, it's 200%. So when I started YouTube, I was very scared to do YouTube, guys.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have a franchise anymore, but I was doing Head Start on ANC and The World Tonight. And Kuya Kim, who's one of my best friends, we were friends since college. And I met Sam actually through Kim. And Kim said, Karen, you need to start your YouTube. I said, what am I going to do there? And he said, you're just scared. You're scared to be rejected because, you've been on TV for so long and YouTube is
a different world.
The different
millennial.
And YouTube is very humbling in the sense that nanliligaw ka sa viewer.
Yeah.
Ang TV kasi, the content is foisted upon you, right? When you see me on TV, you kind of have no choice.
Yeah.
You move to another station, you just move to 3, right? But in YouTube, you're talking about, I choose to subscribe to this person, or I like what this person's showing, or I don't like, and then they don't watch you.
Yeah.
So it can be inconsistent. You can have 8 million views one day, and your next content, forget it. May ganon.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's that kind. And I remember when I started YouTube, I didn't know what to do. And Kim brought me to B-Boy Arboleda's team, which is B617. And they guide a lot of TV people on how to go on YouTube.
Transitioning
I didn't even know
to
that's a
YouTube.
business, but apparently it is. So B-Boy handles like Judy Ann Santos, Jody Santa Maria, Kim, Ami Perez, etc. So I said, what am I going to do? And then I also spoke to Chinky Tan, and I took, a self-reflection period of, who are you? That kind. Who are you as a person? Yeah. And I realized that as a person, I want to be inspirational, an encourager, etc. And my boss said something funny, and I listened to it. O Karen, mag-YouTube ka na. Baka mamaya tulad yan ng ibang mga vlogger, pinapakita nila lahat ng buhay nila.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Buong bahay, buong
That's
whatever
true.
happens
Yeah.
every day. Woke up like this.
Their
House tour, what's inside
or
my
their
bag.
expensive lifestyle. Exactly. And my boss, who I respect very much, Jing Reyes, said, you can't do that. And she was right. Being a journalist, at the end of the day, I can't be completely another person on YouTube. But I felt I could be myself because wherever I am a journalist. You don't leave the tenets of journalism just because, oh, wow, I tried a podcast.
Yeah.
I tried YouTube, or I'm on 89.9.
Yeah.
You're a journalist through and through.
Yeah.
I think one thing I enjoyed about one of your videos was, and I think a lot of future broadcasters or journalists right now, is hindi mo binaboy yun
Content.
no
The image, it's
her profession.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hindi niya
my profession.
binaboy
Agree.
yung profession.
para lang to get followers or get subscribers for that matter.
No, even just as a journalist, she said she never took any bribery.
Yes.
She's always hard-hitting questions. That's why she's known as matapang, and they've called her many names because she always asks the questions that everyone's afraid to ask.
That
right?
people, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And especially in Pasada sa Istrenta. I think that's when that's when I'm driving to work, and then and you are kind of like, you know, it's rare for a Filipina to actually be angry at the top of her lungs.
Yeah.
In the morning.
I have regrets. I felt I was younger. I could have done it better.
Well, you learn as you go along.
That's your character. I mean, that's you know, wanting to know the truth, wanting to know why, you know, this is happening. And it's very toxic. You know, our industry is, well, ours is much more lighter, but yours is actually straight news, which is very toxic every day.
Yes.
You know, whose head isn't gonna explode, you know, with the news when you hear something. So yeah, but sorry to cut you off, but that's one thing I really remember.
Thank you. No, so just to continue, then I'll go into your train of thought. So what I did when I started YouTube is I reintroduced myself humbly to an audience who may not know me. That's what I did. So my first episode is really, who are you? And people ask me, why would you do that? People know you. I said, no. So I had to speak about my history, my family, why I am what I am, and why I end up asking the hard questions. It's all in my first episode.
Was that weird for you to do? Like, I mean, you know, considering it's been 20 plus years, you've been on TV for, and your friends are right. Everybody knows you to some degree, you know? So was it strange?
You know, Gino, my take, and I'll tell you this. Many great people fail because they're so arrogant. And that's the one thing. I mean, I learned this from my father because he had his own faults when he was younger. He was very brilliant, and he had his fits of arrogance and pride. And I realized earlier on that many people fail in their career because they're arrogant. They can't help themselves.
Hubris.
Yes. So that's the one thing I settled early on when I was a broadcaster, that if I'm told I was wrong, I mean, there are times, of course, you hate criticism, but I take it. I'm a good soldier. There were times I felt I was for a certain show, but I didn't get it. I didn't leave the network. Or there were times that you're treated badly too. I mean, not by the network, but you can't help it. You're not with perfect people all the time. And
you want to name?
No.
Kailangan mag-name drop, sabi ko.
You roll with it. You roll with the punches, so to speak. So when YouTube happened, Gino's right, I didn't feel already a sense of
Entitlement.
I shouldn't be doing this. But many people came and said, you know how it is that I'm also not liked by the world, but I lifted that up to the Lord because I'm a born again Christian, more so today than I was 10 years ago. I would have to say I was quite delinquent in my spiritual walk for many years. But I had people saying, ayan, wala ka na kasing trabaho. Sarado na kasi ABS. Kaya nag-YouTube ka na lang. Vlogger ka na lang. And they even said, you look down on vloggers, which was not true. My nephew is Will Dasovich. And he is a vlogger.
He's like one of the biggest vloggers in the Philippines. So.
But I guess because of how they view mainstream media as ang yayabang ng mainstream media, nag-vlogging siya. So ang tanong, why did I start vlogging is what people don't understand. I started vlogging because I didn't want to lose the people who knew me in ABS-CBN. It's as simple as that. I missed my audience. And true enough, when I was able to think of the content that they missed, which is still interviewing people, the lighter side of them, which is my blog, they wanted to be inspired. The ABS-CBN audience that knew me are in my YouTube. So, you know, I mean, people, let's say, would say, hindi ka masa. That's not true. I was in ABS-CBN for a long time. I did TV Patrol, Bandila, The Correspondence, by Puhunan. But then I become more known for Head Start.
Right.
That's the thing, right? But
transition from career.
Please go.
And I guess that's the thing is that, of course, people know you in ABS.
And DZMM.
Yes,
that too.
For 18 years.
And it's such a weird thing when people say that, is that, oh, okay, people might not understand English, but then it's not that part, is that you aren't going to dumb down to the audience. The audience will move up to your level, and that ABS-CBN audience is moving up to your YouTube level. Now, all of a sudden, hey, okay, I can enjoy this. I can, we have to feel that they understand what we're talking about, so that at least they can feel uplifted themselves, that okay, this is where it's going. Is because we do have a question here, is that how do you compose yourself if a certain guest doesn't on your show doesn't know the answers? Because
mainit na yung ulo mo.
we've seen it on Headphones.
I've seen it.
All of a sudden, like,
alam mo namang hindi yun yung sagot. Nagsisinungaling sa harap mo. Pero
tapos you're just so cool. If it was any of us, we'd like, come on!
Loko ka pala eh. Ano na tayo eh. Ba't tayo maglokod dito
Well, number one, I think DZMM being on radio, and you guys know this, you're on radio. I mean, it's more freewheeling, right?
Yeah.
When I was in DZMM, there were times I lost my cool. Vic Lima and I miss him greatly. We would be either, you'd be in a conversation with guests, right?
Yeah.
And Head Start is different. I mean, since the medium itself is more, well, number one, it's in English.
Yeah.
So it shows all around the world, right? So it has a different pace.
Right.
So in Head Start, the way I interview is also quite different from DZMM. But in Head Start, for example, there have been days that I've been really tough, which is why I won that Asian Academy Award for Best News Anchor, is because the piece we presented was an interview with Harry Roque. When Harry Roque kept insisting the president remained neutral in the closure of ABS-CBN. So that's how the interview went, and maybe I'll repost it one day. And I said, but how could you say that? In his speech in Sulu, the president himself said he shut down a network without declaring martial law. And apparently, Malacanang edited out that section. And so Harry kept saying, I don't know about that. And I just said, but this means you could be wrong. You don't know everything that
you can say it with certainty.
Is saying. You don't know everything. And then that's when, of course, he lost it, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually the episode that won. But am I perfect every day on Head Start? The answer is no. I'm the first to tell you there are days, where I'm slow. I don't get to ask the best questions, even if I study, because or some days I should be challenging more, which my bosses have said, you should have challenged this person more. You should have
pushed a bit more. Yeah.
Pushed a bit more. And I'll look back and I'll say, okay. So the thing with interviews is there's no wrong or right formula. That's the thing. And you know that on radio. You behave according to
the answers as well. By listening.
Answers as well. The how, frankly, it's also how you are that day. You're not a robot.
True. Exactly.
There are
it depends
days
on how you're feeling
as well.
Yeah.
And which is why I want the four of you to read this book. It's called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's Oprah's favorite book. It's a short pocket book, but it's a guide to your life. And the first agreement is this: do your best all the time. What does that mean? So if you're sick, you're not performing well on radio that day, your attitude is still, I'll do my best.
Yeah. Whatever level your best is at that day.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you have different levels of best.
True.
My days wala akong boses, so oh my God, half the time, how am I gonna survive?
What do you do?
My days na hindi ka funny. May mga days na
what's your go-to when you lose your voice? What is it? Pipakwa?
I'll be honest with you. My voice is more delicate, I would have to say, than most people. So I had hyperthyroidism and I had radioactive iodine in my 20s. And doctors tell me that the onset of that is you have a weaker box.
Right.
It's more the endurance of it is weaker.
And here you are in broadcasting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So number two, I've always had a bad case of acid reflux, worsened with my schedule when I did Head Start, DZMM, and Bandila all in one day.
Wow.
And I was doing that for 11 years. So I would sleep 1 a.m. and wake up at 5:30 to study, right?
Yeah.
And of course, your voice is not awake yet. You guys know that, right? It takes a while before it warms up. You kind of hit in the middle of the day. Actually, this period is the perfect time.
Alam mo na na-stretch na buti.
Good ka na dito.
Your acid reflux has gone down.
Right.
You know. But there were times before in Bandila, twice, I remember, that I was on air with Julius and Cess, and I lost it. And I just cried. I mean, really cried and said, Lord, I can't keep doing this. If you want me here in this job, you've got to help me.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, I don't know if any of you read the Bible, but this is when Paul said he's asked God to take away the thorn on his flesh. And that's the thorn on my flesh. I'm in broadcasting and I don't have this Noli de Castro voice box where it's freaking.
It's always there. You know?
Right.
And there are people like that, like Vic Lima. Vic Lima will drink to death and go
Next
to
day.
radio. And I'm like,
How?
Right? Yeah.
no reflux, nothing. Wala, Karen.
Kulang ka lang nag-yossi pa eh, no? I'm super okay.
Yeah, and Vic has a very baritone voice. Right?
And you know, I interviewed, you should interview her. I don't know if you I'm sure you know her, but I don't know if you've done an interview with her. So I interviewed Joyce Spring, right?
Yeah.
To be a radio.
She's also. Yeah, she's
She was
also.
from Magic. Yeah.
Magic before, yeah.
So
She was. Hindi ko, baka,
So
Hindi mo
she was
nabutan?
on radio. So what happened to Joyce Spring is she was on radio, then did GMA TV, and then became a star in the podcast world. So she does podcasts twice a week and became a star. And she said she used to party so hard, she would drink till she dropped, was her exact words. She would go on 89.
did you state why?
Bakit?
So
She
hard?
was troubled. She said she had a bad childhood. So it's quite familiar from many stories.
Yeah.
So these are the kinds of interviews I did on the podcast. I just did 6 episodes. I tried it, went well, stopped first. And she said from radio, from 89, I'm guessing, after that, she would drink till she dropped till the next day, like let's say go
5 a.m.
4 a.m. Like an insane time, would wake up with no voice, be brought to the emergency room, and have steroids. That's what you put in your voice.
Injected,
You have steroids put in you, your voice comes out. And she just said at some point, this has to stop. And that's how she found the Lord. And she's so different now. I mean, I don't have that story, but I'm saying, I realize with broadcasters, it happens to everyone in different ways and different forms.
Yeah. Did you ever have a party side, Karen?
I was going to get that. Well, how does Karen? I mean, we celebrate New Year's together practically, but how does Karen have fun?
The irony is because of my schedule in broadcasting, I wouldn't drink Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would only drink
Saturday, Sunday.
with friends, not even Sunday, rarely, Gino,
Okay, yeah.
but Saturday. So it was that day.
Yeah.
That's a window I felt I could drink, recover the next day.
Yeah.
Because it was so bad that if I had, in my earlier years, maybe 2 glasses of wine, and then I do a newscast, I couldn't understand my voice because I didn't understand what acid reflux was then. When I was younger, I didn't know what it was. As I got older and researched, doctors talked to me, then I realized acid reflux is real.
Yeah.
Like, is real for us. But it came later on in the day when I really understood how it worked.
Yeah.
Let's say I would run on the treadmill. I would be so shocked. I would run 5 kilometers, then take a shower and lie down to rest. When I stand up, I'd have no voice. And I would like, Doc, I didn't get it. I didn't talk. I didn't drink. To find out running gives you acid reflux.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So it's a journey, I think, for all of us, even you guys here, because you find it out along the way.
Yeah.
But I guess, I don't know, people have to live with me, so this is it. Right?
But you know what time? How does the day go for you? What time do you wake up, and how does Karen Davila have? What is your fun side? What do you do for fun?
Well, before the pandemic, I'd love to travel. And I do like to eat and drink on a weekend and see friends. But I'll be honest, because of I was such a workaholic, which partly destroyed, I would have to say, my voice, because I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
I wasn't much fun, Sam. I'll be honest. On a regular day.
Yeah, because we see you in the morning, we don't see you at night. So parang natulog ba to?
Or di na natutulog.
And so before, I would do Head Start. I'd wake up at 6, 5:36.
Yeah.
I'd start 8 to 9. And you remember, if you do it once in a while, it's okay.
Yeah. But if
I've
it's
been
consistent,
doing it, 11 years of Head Start. And then I would go out for my puhunan on field. So twice a week. So I'd go out, interview, etc., etc. And then I would go home and take a nap. But by the time gusto mo tulog-tulog, I'll wake up because I was doing pasada sa Istrenta. But I have to leave Makati at 3:30 because traffic, remember, pre-pandemic was so bad.
It's bad.
I always get to pasada so late or late. But
Late palagi.
You know, and then but they could understand, the bosses would, but of course I got reprimanded.
Yeah.
So that's 4:30 to 5:30. I would go back to Makati to eat dinner with my kids.
Yeah.
And then I would leave Makati at 9:30, 10 to do Bandila that would air 11:50.
It's crazy how you were doing bookends. Like,
Exactly.
Oh nga,
You know, I mean,
so I wanted to ask
to
that.
do 2 to
How
3
was that?
shows that are right next to each
Agree.
other makes sense. But
But
like
yung
the
bookends, yun yung that'll take a toll.
wild. Yeah, and wow.
And if you ask me how did I survive it, I would really have to say that was God's grace. I don't know how. I mean, and I don't want to go back to it again.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like that. But like, you chose that path at that time. That was a priority. The whole, of course, your career. And you can't have, partying at night and that career life at the same time. You can have everything, but at the proper time. At that time, of course, it would be impossible to still be, hanging out, going drinking, tapos bookends.
Yes.
It would just appetite for destruction.
I said it, Sam. So like, I would have friends that would have dinner weekdays and I could never go. I never went.
Wala na yun.
Everybody would have dinner weekdays and I'm never there.
Yeah.
And that it was the life I chose. I knew I had to earn money and I'm a big saver. Hindi ako magastos. So, I mean, I had a very good contract in ABS-CBN and they took care of me, which is why when ABS-CBN was not granted a franchise, I really wanted to stay with ABS-CBN.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I love the company.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, it's not great all the time.
Right.
But overall, I always say I would not have been Karen Davila if not for the opportunities ABS-CBN opened up to me.
Yeah.
Okay, the company isn't perfect, but I would have to say I had a chance to do so many things in ABS. So, I mean, there will be changes by next week.
Bawal sabihin. Bawal sabihin.
Yeah. I mean, changes that are going now. Many people are running. So who knows? But it'll change.